Do you believe in the genocide they're committing?
I think they're fighting for themselves and they're defending themselves.
Do you think that's defense?
Well,
when 1,200 people died, and of which the 1,200 you've killed, and admitted that you've killed a lot during, your handle.
I will tell you this. Because you're saying it one-sided. You're not telling the other side of the story on what they're doing either. You're not saying what Hamas did. You're not saying what they did.
What did Hamas do?
I mean, from day one, when you see the rapes and the videos, we've all seen it. This isn't something
What rapes and videos?
But stay on this here if you want to continue with this.
But what rapes and videos?
But my concern when you're saying Israel's doing it, you're saying the other side isn't doing anything.
No, but I'm asking. There was no rapes during October 7th. They've shown no rapes from October 7th. They showed no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit.
This debate got heated fast. Dan Bilzerian directly challenged Patrick Bet-David over his defense of Israel, and within seconds, the conversation exploded into a tense argument over Gaza and the events of October 7. Let's break down what happened and why this exchange is getting so much attention.
Comments you're making about Israel a recent thing, or have you always had these beliefs?
It's more recent. I didn't really realize what a problem it was until recently, and then everybody was scared to say something about it. My brother told me, you can't say anything about it. They'll fucking kill you. Everybody basically said that I couldn't say anything about it. And actually now they're literally trying to kick me off the board of my company because of those tweets.
Shit.
Yeah, I've definitely had a lot of negative pushback, a lot of my Jewish friends, but I don't give a fuck. It's one of those things where I know that it's the right thing. And the fact that everybody else is scared to say it makes me, feel obligated to be vocal about it.
Why do you think it's the right thing?
Because I know that they're a fucking parasite. They provide the U.S. absolutely no value. They've done so many things that, would constitute, an act of war against us. I mean, USS Liberty, Lebanon Affair, I can go on and on and on and on and on. But, I think they knew about 9/11. I think they had JFK assassinated. The first thing that he wanted to do, right before he died was, make AIPAC a foreign entity, and not allow them to have nukes. And then all of a sudden this fucking guy's dead. And Jack Ruby, who is Jack Rubenstein, it's just and then I don't know, man, I can't ignore all the shit that they've done. They sold our secrets. Netanyahu lied to us about weapons of mass destruction. We fought all these fucking wars. My friends have died over there. And I just look at what they provided us with, and it's fucking, it's not nothing. It's like a negative, it's not, even if they just didn't do jack shit, that would be, bad, but they've actually done things to hurt us over and over and over again. So this whole thing of they're our greatest ally is just complete fucking bullshit. And, we send them $100 billion, then they send AIPAC $100 million, and then they distribute it to our politicians, and every politician is a little fucking AIPAC handler walking around and telling them what to fucking say and how to vote. And it's just look, I'll donate $100,000 to politicians, and they call me up hey, you need anything? Every week. I don't need shit. I fucking sit on my ass. I don't do anything. I don't care. I don't fucking break any laws. I don't need any favors. I just gave it to them because I didn't want to see any more fucking retard, Democrats in there. So, but that's 100,000. What does 100 million buy you? How many fucking phone calls do those guys get? And so I just know how it works, and the system is broken. These people get into office and they don't have very much money, and they get out of office with fucking tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. It's not a fucking accident, right?
Is that an Israel thing, or is that anybody? Because China's doing the same thing.
China doesn't have they don't have an AIPAC. Israel is the only one that has a fucking a lobby in the U.S. fucking giving these politicians money.
Okay, no, every country, the big ones all have lobbyists. They all have lobbying that they're doing.
Not in the U.S. They're registered as foreign entities.
Right. I mean, if you're talking about, are you going to the dual citizenship part with Israel? Israel.
That's another problem. Is a lot of our politicians have far more allegiance to Israel than they do the United States. I mean, that's a whole nother issue as well.
Do you know why they did the dual citizenship? Do you know the history behind why they did the dual citizenship?
What do you mean?
So the whole concept of dual citizenship was because when Israel became a country again, they didn't want the people from here who wanted to go back to Israel that didn't have a motivation to go if they were going to lose their citizenship here. So that was the reason why they did it. It was kind of okay, you're your own country. We kind of need some of you guys to move over there to help the country out. Yeah, but I'm not going to go. Why are you not going to go? Am I going to lose my citizenship here? But you are. I mean, we don't do that. Every other country, I don't want to lose my citizenship. Well, okay, how about if we do this? How about if we allow you, just Israel, to go back to your country, you won't lose your citizenship? That was the arrangement at the beginning why they did it that way.
No, look, I get it. I have 3 citizenships. You know what I mean? I think it's okay. I think
what's the third one? I know Armenia, but what's the
St. Kitts.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't have an issue with dual citizenship. My issue is when somebody is holding a U.S. office and they are putting a foreign nation's interest before America's interest, and they are favoring that other country. And so that to me is treason. Like when you are a U.S. government official, your motivation should be to do things in the best interest of the government that you are representing, not some other
100%.
fucking foreign country. And that's the problem. Do you believe in the genocide they're committing?
I think they're fighting for themselves and they're defending themselves.
Do you think that's defense?
Well,
when 1,200 people died, and of which the 1,200 you've killed, and admitted that you've killed a lot during, your Hannibal.
I will tell you this. If Israel's the enemy, then if let's just say you don't do anything and everybody in the Middle East unites to take out Israel, do you think the Middle East is better without Israel? And do you think the world's a safer place without Israel?
100%. It's not even close.
Okay, tell me why. Why do you think?
Give me an argument otherwise, please.
But
give me one argument why the world would be better off with Israel. Let's just start with that. One thing. Give me one thing.
Have you ever lived in the Middle East?
No.
I lived there for 10 and a half years. It's a very, it's not as like here. You can sit here, you can be an atheist, you can be an agnostic, I can be a Christian, he can be a Jew, he can be an LDS, Muslim, no problem. We can coexist here. You can do that in Israel. You can do that.
I mean, not really. They're operating apartheid right now. So everybody's not living equally.
Not at the level of Iran. Not at the level of what Iran is doing. I mean, in Iran, if you're thinking what Israel is doing out of control, do you know how much money Khamenei's family's made? Do you know how much money they've taken? They have 200.
I've never been to Iran, but I've been to Dubai, I've been to Saudi, I've been to UAE. So and they're all Muslim. They seem to be operating fine.
I would say Iran's slightly different than. But go back to it. So okay, so you think the Middle East and the world would be a better place if Israel didn't exist?
Yes.
Okay.
Israel's committed, so many terrorist attacks. They're stealing land right now. They're operating apartheid. They're currently committing a genocide on Palestinians. Do you believe in the genocide they're committing?
I think they're fighting for themselves and they're defending themselves.
Do you think that's defense?
Well,
when 1,200 people died, and of which the 1,200 you've killed, and admitted that you've killed a lot during, your Hannibal.
I will tell you this. The part I question, where people who are Jewish can't stand when I say this, I don't know how you, Netanyahu, claim you have the best intelligence in the world, Mossad, and you didn't know that on October 7th they're attacking.
They knew about it. They didn't. They wanted it to happen, so they had a reason to take that. Yeah, they wanted a reason to take the land.
I totally get it.
And they killed their own citizens. And they claimed that all these people got raped. That was bullshit. They claimed beheaded babies. That was bullshit. Everything that they said was a fucking complete. Not only was it a lie, but they committed all those atrocities themselves to the Palestinians and been caught doing it. In fact, they just got caught gang raping Palestinians. How many babies have they killed? All the things that they accuse the Palestinians of, or Hamas of, or whatever, they are guilty of 100-fold themselves. And they've been doing that. October 7th wasn't the start of this. The start of this was Nakba. They've done so many different.
Disagree. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah, so I mean, this is not it's not like October 7th is it's all of a sudden they just came over there unsolicited and just killed people. They have been killing Palestinians for years and years, operating two sets of justice. It's they have the justice for the Palestinians and the justice for the Israelis. And if you read the Talmud, if you're not Jewish, you're basically not a human. You're like cattle. If a Jew is killed by somebody that's not Jewish, then it's the death penalty. If a Jew kills somebody that's not a Jew, then you can't kill them. It's not the death penalty. They literally segregate in their Bible.
They're very protective of themselves. I don't think anybody can debate that. I don't think it's a.
Well, it's not the problem isn't that they're protective of themselves. The problem comes when you think that you're better than other people, and you think it's okay to lie to anybody that's not a Jew. You think it's okay to steal from people that are not a Jew. You have two sets of standards. The problem with that is it allows you to rationalize anything, right? And human beings are generally self-serving creatures. So if your fundamental religious belief system allows you to operate in such a way that you believe there isn't consequences to stealing from other people, killing other people, raping, kids that are under 9 years old, if you think those things are okay, then, how are you going to operate? Because to me, my moral code keeps me on track.
This is where the interview reaches its breaking point. Patrick challenges Dan with one direct question. Would the region truly be safer without Israel? Dan refuses to back down, and the discussion quickly turns into a fierce clash over morality, security, recent events, and who should bear responsibility. Neither side is willing to concede, making this one of the most tense and revealing moments of the entire interview.
Tension.
You ever seen MIT stats showing that Ashkenazi Jews' IQ is the highest IQ in the world? You ever heard about that or not?
I believe it. It's up there. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen the IQ studies. Yeah.
What do you think about that? The fact that they have a higher IQ. How do you process that information?
What do you mean?
You have a pretty high IQ, right?
Okay,
I mean, I don't know what the score is. I've seen some. What's this? I've read it multiple different places. What's the score you got?
I don't know. I mean, I was in the 99th percentile when I was in 8th grade and got accepted to Duke on a scholarship. I mean, I've tested okay. I'm a smart guy.
Okay,
I get it,
but do you think the part about like, okay, I'm a Syrian and I'm Armenian, and then I'm born in Iran and I'm in living in America. Armenians, try bring them together. It's tough. They're divided. Assyrians.
I don't know about that. Go to Glendale, buddy.
No, I lived in Glendale for 6 years.
What do you mean? They're pretty. I mean, every
kidding?
Armenian that I ever meet is like, bro, you're Armenian. It's like, I have seen
The pride is right. The
I've
pride
seen
is
more
there.
Armenian pride than any other.
Yeah, but you're talking, these guys are coming to you. You have different types of Armenians, right? And even right now in Armenia with what they're going through with, Pashinyan and some of the political stuff. You were there in 2018 with your brother and your dad when you guys went there and got your citizenship. But Assyrians, they're divided. It's the older, the church, the club, the this, the that. You can't unite these guys together, right? The closest thing I'll say with Jews, the level of unity that they have is Muslims and Mormons. Mormons are super united. Muslims are super united. And Jews are super united. That's one part that they have the edge. But then if you look at their IQ, and if somebody's IQ is higher, they're generally going to make better decisions in business, if that is correct. Right? If IQ is correct.
Is that where so you think that that 6 out of the 10 richest people in America are Jewish? You think it's just IQ related?
You think they started off with money when they started creating their wealth?
I think if you look at college admissions and you look at how many Jews get admitted versus how many whites, they lump themselves in a separate category. And 75% of college, what is it? 75% is Jewish.
Of what? Admissions?
I
don't know the exact
college executives. What Ivy League?
The number I have is, in the world, there's 267 Jewish billionaires. That's 10% of all the billionaires, while they're only 0.2% of the world, right? So that's a 5% overrepresentation. In America...
Wait, you're saying they're 2%? They're not 2% of the world, they're 0.02. If
that's what I said, 0.2.
No, they're not. I think it's 0.02.
If you do 9 billion, they have roughly 15 million people.
Okay.
So 0.2% of 8 billion is like 16 million, and that's what they have.
Okay.
0.2%,
yeah, not 2%.
No, we're saying the same thing. We're saying the same thing. So in U.S., 132 Jewish billionaires out of 756. 17% of billionaires in America are Jewish. Mm-hmm. Did that happen accidental? Is that because they work together? Is that a bad thing? Is that something where, it's kind of like saying, when Tom Brady was playing in the NFL, the guy was freaking hated. It's like, oh, Deflategate or this, or they did this, or they did that.
I don't care that like 90% of sports are black or whatever the fucking statistic is. I don't give a shit if Jews have all the money. I really don't care. I don't care if they run Hollywood. Like, my issue is like culpability with the people that are pushing these fucking bullshit narratives. The media is mostly Jewish, and the media is pushing this fucking DEI.
Yeah.
They're pushing this trans bullshit. They're pushing they push the COVID fucking shit, right? So all I'm saying is I want you to be responsible for what you're in charge of. I don't care if it's the purple people in charge of the banks.
Right.
I don't care if it's the fucking green people in charge of the fucking media. No, but dude, hear me out. I don't care who the fuck it is. I'm saying if the media is the green people and they're pushing COVID and they're pushing DEI, they're pushing transgenderism and they're pushing racism and they're pushing division and they're pushing a degradation of fucking moral fiber, I'm mad at the green people, right? You see what I'm saying? I don't give a shit who it is. I'm saying who is in charge should have some responsibility.
I see it in a different way.
Patrick broadens the debate beyond foreign policy, shifting the focus to success, influence, and responsibility. As Patrick offers alternative explanations, Dan keeps returning to one central point. Greater influence should bring greater accountability. Their disagreement is not really about the figures themselves, but about what those figures reveal and how they should be understood.
Here's how I see it. So I see it as, when I'm coming up, I have my friends, I'm in the insurance game and I'm making $100,000 a year, and it would say, oh my God, look at those guys. All they care about is this, and they help each other out, these different insurance companies. I'm like, yeah, how about we figure out a way to do the same? No, but they have this, and it was almost like a little bit of from a place of victimhood. Like, look what they're doing. I'm like, okay, let me continue. So I grow, then I get to the next level. I'm making a little bit more money, and now I'm in different meetings. So at every level, Dan, my experience, I may be wrong, and challenge me as much as you want and say, rip it apart, the argument that I have.
Okay.
So while you're making six figures, you're in a room with 50 other guys making six figures, right? You know which guy that's at six figures that's going to go to $250,000, and you know which guy's going to get stuck at 100,000, and you know which guy's going to go down because he got lucky. Maybe he landed a big insurance sale that paid him $60,000. You could filter those guys out. You go to $250,000, you saw the same thing. You know who's going to go next level, who's going to stay, who's going to go down. $1 million, $10 million, $50 million, at every, even $1 billion. On who's going to go. Like, Elon's probably not going to slow down. But between Elon and Bezos, guess who's probably going to slow down if you chose those two? You may say Bezos. They're both worth a couple $100 billion. They have more money than many countries have. But at every level, eventually somebody stops, right? And some continue at every level. This is in basketball, sports, poker, you name it. I had a big $1 million thing. I'm happy I walk away. To me, the part of it that I see when I'm talking within my community, I'm a guy that in my house, I have a 15-foot painting in my house. When you come to Florida, if you ever do, I'll show it to you. In the middle of it, you know who it is? The Shaviran is right in the middle of it. Guess who was the biggest against the Jewish Zion media empire? Guess who was the biggest person that called him out? Him. And what happened to him in 1979? You know what they did to him? They got rid of him in a different way. So you're not talking to a guy that is Jewish or pro this or pro that. For me, I want to see what caused them to go from where they were at to having the kind of wealth that I have today. Can that skill set be transferred to others? The part that you and I can criticize is what they do with all the power that they have today. We can criticize that all day long. They run media, they run CNN, they do this, and they all tell everybody, you better say this, and you better say that. The Soros, the Bond, Bronfman, all these guys. You can criticize that all day because now you have the power. What do you do with the power? But my interest is, what caused them to get all this money? It's not like one day they woke up, they found something, and the next thing you know, they're doing this. How did they get all this power and this money that they made? Was that pure luck? Was that accidental?
I mean, depends on what field you're talking about. I mean, I think when you kind of stick together and when BlackRock, their execs are 100% Jewish. So when you only hire Jewish people and you give them preferential treatment, I think it's natural for, your race, religion, whatever, to have a higher, success rate when you're banded together and everybody else is divided. And, it seems like America just gets more and more divided by the day. And what would make it easier to conquer a country than to divide it? It's a lot easier, that's why they say divide and conquer, right? Mm-hmm. So in order to rule a country as a small class, you want the country divided. What's happened in the last 4 years? Our country's more divided than it's ever been. It's more racist, it's more divided, it's more fucking angry. Everybody's fucking pulling each other apart. And, and the same playbook is happening in the UK. So I look at what is going on in the world and I don't think it is a positive thing. And so that is where, I get upset is because...
But the question is, how did they get the power? How do you think they got their power? Because this didn't happen, just 70 years ago. They didn't have a country, whatever the timeline is when they got it, right? How did they all of a sudden go from what happens in Germany, then they get their country, then they're able to move up politically, then they're able to move up in media, then they're able to move up in all these different places with finance and Wall Street? What did they do right? How did they get all this power? They have a lot of power. How did they do it?
I mean, look, I haven't studied Jewish power struggles or how they made their money or anything like that. That's not really,
Well, you know what I'm asking?
I do. And I don't really have a direct answer for it because I haven't studied it, so I'm not going to guess. But, I just look at this whole thing of, they're obviously doing really fucking well. I don't know why it's constantly like a victim card thing.
You think it's worth studying? You think it's worth studying to see what they did?
Yeah.
I remember one time I'm in LA, I'm with this guy named David. He owned a dealership, Jewish guy. First time in my life I saw $1 million cash. I'd never seen it before. I just come out of the army. I'm like, hey, how the hell do you guys, Jews, I grew up in Iran, so we have a lot of Persian Jews. How do you guys always make so much money? And he said the most fascinating thing. He said, when one of us makes money, 5 of us makes money. I'm like, what does that mean? We always do business together. We always go into deals together. We're always finding ways to do business together. Do you know from that moment when I was 21 years old, when I started my own insurance company at 30 years old, you know why was one of the reasons we never lost the vice president of the company? And I'm in Vegas right now because I got a convention at MGM for this week with 10,000 people there. We give our guys equity. So our guys own the company. So it wasn't like it's my commission. That idea of equity came from that Jewish, dealership guy I met at 21 years old.
Listen, I get it. I mean, good for them. I don't have a problem with that. I don't care if they help each other out and whatever, they band together. My issue is when they fucking put their country ahead of our country, when they're living in our country and they're politicians in our country. And I care when our country is hurt to help their country. That's what I fucking care about. I don't give a shit if they band together. I don't care if they give each other special treatment, whatever. I mean, I'd like to stop hearing about the fucking, victim card bullshit every time I fucking turn around, because they're not victims. They're crushing in every fucking category. And, and they like constantly refer to the Holocaust when they're the biggest Holocaust deniers on the fucking planet. They deny the Armenian Holocaust, which, like half of my people got wiped out, half of your people got wiped out. They deny that. So I don't think it's right for them to whine about the Holocaust and force feed every single fucking children, all the fucking children and students, this fucking Holocaust narrative and hijack the entire fucking World War II and make it about the fucking Jews when like 85 million people fucking died during World War II. It wasn't all about the fucking Jews, but they make every movie about the fucking struggling Jews and how they had to fucking endure all this stuff. And yet, they can't recognize the Armenian Holocaust. We lost half our population. They didn't lose half their population, but yet we have to hear about it every fucking movie, every classroom, every museum, nonstop on every show.
Well, why though?
Why what? Why do they play the victim card so much?
So, okay, so let me ask you, who made the movie about Armenian genocide?
I don't know who made it.
Did you ever watch the movie with Christian Bale?
1917?
No, not 1917. The recent one with Christian Bale. I think it's called, if you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. You'd love the movie. But it's called Belief or hang on, Courage, Armenian Genocide movie. What's it called? The Promise. Have you seen it? No. It's ridiculous. I'll send it to you afterwards for you to watch. But The Promise. Do you know who made The Promise?
I know.
The owner of MGM, Krikorian. Okay? He made The Promise with Christian Bale. He put $100 million into it. The budget was $90 million. They made $12.4 million is what the movie did. But it's actually a very good movie. It's worth watching. But the point I'm making there is an Armenian created $9 billion of wealth for himself that he could use the money to make the story, to tell the story of what really happened with the Armenian genocide.
I think you're missing the point. It's not about what they do in Hollywood with their money. It's about the fact that the government puts this in the school systems.
But why do they put it in the school systems?
Because they're controlling our fucking government.
Why do they control our government?
I don't know, because they assassinate presidents. They assassinated JFK because they have a Mossad operation at fucking Epstein Island. They get blackmailing our politicians. They give hundreds of millions of dollars via APAC. That's why they fucking control the country.
Epstein's brother.
Yeah, but that's when you asked the question. That's why they control the country.
But the point is.
But is that right? Like, I'm
not saying it's
just because they control it doesn't mean that it's like a pat on the back because they're doing it through fucking illegal means.
So, brother, I'm a business guy, so are you. I'm looking for solutions. What is the solution? What's your solution?
The solution for what?
To this challenge here that they're able to make all these movies, tell the stories, put in the schools, put in all this stuff.
That's not my issue. My issue is our support of Israel, and my issue is like Israel's control over our government. That's my problem. It's not these fucking movies. That's like proliferated shit. My issue is that Israel is controlling our government. They have, Mossad operations to get dirt on our politicians. They're fucking bribing our politicians. That's my problem.
Notice how Patrick keeps steering the discussion toward practical explanations and solutions, while Dan continues building a broader argument about political influence and institutional incentives. The exchange becomes a prolonged pressure test. Patrick asks how these outcomes occurred, while Dan argues that political structures and lobbying relationships are the key forces driving what we are seeing.
Okay, and they're doing it to the U.S.'s detriment. They're going to drag us into one more fucking war where we have U.S. citizens dying for fucking Israel.
Yeah.
As a veteran, you should not want to fucking see that.
I'm not for it.
Iraq was a fucking joke, and we did that because that dumb fucking Netanyahu got in front of Congress, lied out of his ass, and said there was weapons of mass destruction when everybody fucking knew there was.
We said it as well, bro.
No. It came from him.
No, it's not about it. Didn't come from him. It could have come from him, but we did it as well.
He testified in front of Congress.
I remember that
there was weapons of mass destruction. And it was complete fucking bullshit.
But we said it as well. But again, for me, the only thing I'm interested in, everything you're saying, I don't disagree with the things that you're saying. For me, it's what's the solution? Because they're going to continue making money. BlackRock's not going to slow down tomorrow because we're doing this podcast, and all of a sudden they're going to say, oh, Dan Bilzerian, you make sense. Guess what? We're going to stop pushing our agenda
this
so
ain't
much.
For BlackRock, it's for the people, man. BlackRock ain't going to change. They're going to operate in their own self-interest. They're going to push this fucking DEI bullshit. They're going to force all the companies that they fund to push DEI bullshit. The only thing that the people can do is fucking push back, start boycotting this stuff, stop fucking supporting it. And, you ask like what the solution is. I mean, why is Israel even an ally? I mean, why when they shot down a civilian plane, did we just say, that's fine? But when Russia did it...
You mean a ship? The USS?
They shot down a commercial airliner that flew over their airspace that had civilians in it. When Russia did that, that was an act of war. Why is there a double standard?
Why do you think?
Because they control our fucking government. I said it.
But again...
Why do you think?
Well, I mean, if you want to find out, like, what the first thing would happen for this to be stopped, again, solution oriented. If we say, what's the first thing? You know what the first thing is? If we stop lobbying, half the shit stops. If the concept of lobbying stops, we had Paul Manafort on the podcast. Yeah, I don't know if you know who Paul Manafort is. Is it Paul Manafort? Anyways, we had one of the bigger lobbyists on the podcast. Him and Roger Stone started their company many, many years ago. And I said, so what do you think about lobbying? I said, do you think it's a good thing? Or do you think...
I think it encourages corruption, is what I think.
I fully agree. But you know what he said? He said, the other side's doing it, so we're going to do it. So if today lobbying stopped, these guys wouldn't have the kind of power that they have today.
The whole system's broken. That's the problem. It's broken, and government just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And yeah, I mean, listen, this country was founded because we didn't want to pay 1% fucking tax on tea. Don't forget that.
We were willing to fight for 1%. That, and now
1% tax on tea. That's why we have this fucking country. Come a long way from there.
What's your point?
My point is that, we should fucking stop putting up with this bullshit, and there should be fucking changes made. Like our politicians are not running our country. We think that they are. They're just not. And
you think it's ever going to change? You think the format's going to change?
I think that when we have our economic crash, that might be a catalyst. I think people are lazy, and I think they're pussies, and I don't think they're going to do jack shit until their way of life is threatened, and I think people will do something. That's what I think. But I think it'll take an economic collapse for anybody to do anything. The government's not going to initiate it, that's for sure.
Well, don't you think an economic collapse would actually benefit them? Would actually benefit the people of power to be able to give more free things during that time for where people are willing to give up even more?
They can inflate, and they will. They'll print more fucking money. But that, can't go on forever. This like fairy tale of just like printing and printing money, like that doesn't work. I mean, like, let me ask you this. Why do you think the quality of life now is lower than it was 50 years ago when we have all this technological innovation? We've got the ability to produce things for a lot cheaper cost. We've got the ability to mass scale. Why do you think our quality, like, where's all the money getting sucked out of? Like, where's all the money going?
If you go on 50 years, you're talking 74.
No.
So are you talking technically? You want a technical answer, or you want just a...
I'm saying, where'd the money go? Well, how did all that money get sucked onto the economy so that, we are having a shittier average quality of life than we were 50 years ago?
Well, if you're talking technically in 1972, when Nixon took U.S. off the gold standard, shit changed because America can print as much money as they want. You couldn't when it was based off the gold standard. So the recklessness started after 72. So if you're talking that's that part. Because now we can just do what? Hey, you know what? What do we need to pay off? Print another $1 trillion. Print another 4 trillion. Print another 6 trillion. It's okay.
Exactly.
And by the way, just so you know, the more money they print, guess who makes the money? You know what the money goes up to? The people that have businesses.
Yeah, I mean,
But if you're asking the technical question, that's where the wild, wild west started. Where typically it's like, okay, hey, Dan, you know, can I get $100,000? Yeah, here's collateral. Okay, cool. I got it. $120,000 watch, shit hits the fan. I can sell this, no problem. This was gold. What's collateral now? I got you, bro. You're good.
I get it.
I'm USA. I got you. It's the fiat currency.
But like, why did we start the Fed? Why did we start the tax? Why did we get off the gold standard?
Yeah. I'm with all of it. But I'm curious what you think, because you got a smile on your face. You
I
got a reason.
already told you what I think's the problem. I've said it numerous times. I mean, our government is not being fucking controlled by the people who say they're controlling it. You know?
You seem very optimistic.
I'm not. I'm actually not very optimistic about it. Like I said, I think it's going to take an economic collapse for anything to change.
Dan Bilzerian remained consistent throughout the interview, linking foreign policy, lobbying, and political influence to his belief that American institutions do not always serve the national interest. Patrick Bet-David challenged him with tough questions and alternative explanations, but Dan kept returning to the same central argument. Ultimately, the debate became less about Israel alone and more about power, accountability, and who truly shapes U.S. policy.